Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Auntie Jen's 2 Cents. Now, back at Roots Tech this past year, Krista Cowan was talking with a group of people and asked them, well, what do you do with old photos that don't have any names or dates, and you don't know anything about them or what they are? And one person from the group yelled out, throw them away! Oh my gosh. No, they didn't. No, you don't do that. No, that is by far the wrong answer. And I'm going to give you 3 examples from my own personal experience on why you should never throw away old photos. And that's why this episode is called Keep Those Photos. I know, the thought of throwing out any old photos is horrific, but sadly it happens every single day. I find many old photos in antique stores, yard sales, even the trash. It is so sad. But you may be telling me right now, but why would I want to keep old photos of people and places that I don't know anything about? And why is it important to me? There's no way that I'll find out anything about these photos because everyone who could tell me anything is long gone. Well, that's not true. Let me explain. Now, if you've read about how I got started in my genealogy research, it's on my blog in my About Me section. You know that I inherited a whole bunch of photos from my grandma that were undated and unnamed. And some of them I know came back from the early 1900s. So I took on the task of working with those photos, labeling them, figuring out who they are. And through my research, I've been able to really label a whole lot of them. But there are still some photos that are in my unlabeled category that I think I may never find out really anything about them. But I've been able to determine who some of these people are in these photos. So I'm going to give you 3 photos. I'm going to show you 3 photos from my collection as an example of why you don't want to throw out any photos and why sometimes just give it a little bit of time and you may answer the question of who are these people? Now this first photo here, it was in my grandma's box when she gave it to me, along with a whole bunch of other photos. And as you can see, it's torn. It's torn, it's old, it's tattered. And there were other people in the photo, obviously, but I don't know who this person is or who anybody else was. And I'm thinking, how am I ever going to be able to label this? Now, turning it over, barely written on the back, it said the word Lizzie. Well, there's nobody in my tree that I know of that had that name of Lizzie that would have been associated with my grandma. So I put it away. That's back in 2012, whenever I did that. Now, fast forward 2 years later. I was looking on Ancestry and looking at my tree and going through some of the hints that have popped up that were new that I didn't know about before. And one hint came up on my great-grandma Wheeler's side, my grandpa Wheeler's mom. Now, she died when he was just a baby, so I never had any pictures of her. I'd never seen her, no nothing. And there was a hint for her, so I was pretty excited. So I went and looked at it, and there was a photo. And would you believe it is the full photo of the piece that I had? Look at this. I can't believe it. The odds of finding this, really, I would not be able to even figure out. But this came from a distant cousin who's related through the Wheeler side of the family who had this photo and he uploaded it. And oh my gosh, I was beyond ecstatic to find out that this torn picture is my second great grandma. How awesome is that? And I'm so glad I never threw away this picture. And well, it makes sense. Her name is Elizabeth, but they called her Lizzie. That was her nickname. So that makes sense now, but I didn't know at the time. But I'm glad I did not throw this photo away because at the time it was the only surviving photo that I ever had of my second great grandma, Lizzie Wheeler. So that's the first photo. Now, this second photo here is kind of still in progress. And what I mean by that is I still have to research it. But it may be a lead that I've been looking for. Now, there is a story that back in the 60s, my grandpa, Les Wheeler, and a couple of friends, they were trying to put up an old CB tower or antenna, a CB antenna over at their house. And in the process of doing that, they hit a live electrical wire and they were all electrocuted. My grandpa got electrocuted all the way down his esophagus and down into his stomach and all the way down to his feet where his shoes were melted to the bottom of his feet. He survived. One other friend lost his toe, but sadly, the other friend, he did die. He did not survive this. And this was a really big deal, apparently. It was in the newspaper, and it was announced on the radio before my grandma even got home. And so she's hearing about this on the radio as she's coming home from work, that her husband was just struck by, got electrocuted, basically. So, yeah, this is a pretty big event that happened in my family, but my mom could not remember the date of when it happened. She just had a roundabout of a date. And so I'm trying to look for newspaper articles about this event, but the newspaper that I'm looking in is not indexed. So I have to search through page by page by page within a few years span to try to find this information. And I haven't even gotten, not even close to halfway through all these newspapers. Well, this picture right here, even though it is really dark, if you look, there are some power lines down. And I couldn't tell if there was a tree there. It looks like there's a tree there. I don't know. But the thing is I asked Mom about this, and she said, that might be related to the incident. I don't know. But what's good about it is there's a date on that photo. If you look on the side, it says April of 67. That gives me an idea of when I could possibly check just to see if maybe this is relating to that incident. And if it is, oh my gosh, it's a good thing I didn't throw out these photos. Even though they're faded and you can't tell what it is, it's just scenery. This may be the key to unlock that story and find that. So I'm glad I haven't thrown these out. Another reason why you shouldn't. Now, this third photo, this last photo that I want to show you is the biggest, most amazing moment so far with all of this. I'd seen this photo before, originally when I got my grandma's photos back in 2012. But I had no idea what it was, so I put it away. I put it away in a box and said, maybe one day, we'll look through it later. Well, just yesterday, I was going through photos downstairs looking for some other photos of my great-great aunt. And I'm just looking through, and I come across this photo again. And I'm looking at it, and you can tell by looking at these gentlemen that this is World War I. They're wearing World War I fatigues, army outfits. And I'm like, hey, could that be? And I turned it over, and this is what it said on the back. And the date obviously is World War I era, but the date coincides with the travel dates of William Ilg. The William Ilg that I have been researching and sharing all kinds of blog posts and videos about since last year. The William Ilg that I do not have a photo of yet. I turned it back over and I literally just stared at it, not being able to breathe, thinking, oh my gosh, you mean I've had this photo in my collection this whole time? And it's possible that William Ilg is in this photo? Now, back in 2012 when I got this photo, it wouldn't have meant a thing to me because I had not done the research. I only did the research on William Ilg just last year. I did it for the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. And that's when I learned as much as I could about William Ilg. But if I wouldn't have done that research, I wouldn't have been able to trace back to the fact that this could possibly be him. I'm still blown away by the fact that I'm pretty 98% sure that he is in this photo. I don't know which one he is yet, but I'm comparing this picture to other pictures that I have of his brothers to see if I can figure it out. But again, if I just would have thrown that photo out, oh my gosh, I never would have been able to make the connection and say, you know what, here is possibly the only surviving photo that I have of my second great uncle who was killed in action in World War I. So those are just 3 examples on why you really need to keep every photo that you have and put them away, because you never know what's going to happen down the line after you do your research, you get in contact with more people, distant cousins, anything who might be able to provide answers. You just never know. So absolutely keep your photos, put them away somewhere. Do not get rid of them. Please do not get rid of them. So that's my 2 cents. See you later, guys.